my channel and thanks so much for clicking on today's video. My name's Olivia. If you're new here, welcome to the Found Gang. I upload videos weekly on beauty, life and style. If you enjoy my content and you plan to stick around, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and also you can go follow me over on Instagram as well. Alright, so as you can tell by the video title, today's video is pretty topical, and that is how do I wear my makeup without getting it to transfer all over my mask? Corona's been around for what feels like forever, but it's actually just a few months, at least here in Kenya. I think since around March is when we had measures come into place to kind of change how we behave so that we could try and contain coronavirus. What that has meant is a lot of us are working from home, or at least reduced movement around about. And I think a lot of people have taken this opportunity, myself included, to really focus on skincare. By the way, if you haven't seen one of my latest videos, I did a full brand review on the Ordinary skincare line, a ton of products that I've tried from the line. I'll make sure to link it up here and in the description box if you want to check that out. So because we've been focusing so much on our skin, there's not been that much kind of makeup wearing, myself included, but I love makeup. I love it, I miss it, I love dressing up. I'm such a girly girl. I love feeling glamorous, I love feeling just dressed up with my makeup. And when I've got my face on, honestly, I feel my best. So there are times when I'm out of the house, or I've got to go somewhere and I do want to put on makeup, but of course that means I have to consider what I'm putting on my face. So I thought I'd put together a video on basically transfer proof makeup. I haven't done a video like this before on my channel, but a lot of these tips and tricks I have been incorporating into my kind of tutorial and the way that I do my makeup for a while, particularly because I have oily skin. If you have oily skin like me, then you know the struggles about basically your makeup breaking down off your face after a few hours. The oil starts seeping through, and oils and makeup, they don't mix. So your face can start to slide off, you can start to get transfer or slippage around your nose, on your forehead, on your chin, on your cheeks, basically all over the face. So this video is basically some tips and tricks and techniques that you can incorporate into your routine, particularly if you have oily skin, but I think some of them apply more generally, even if you have more combi or normal to dry skin. And this should basically be able to help you get through your day without having your makeup fully transfer, your whole face that you've worked so hard for, to transfer onto your mask. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in watching, then please stick around and let's just get started. Okay, so I'm starting off with my eyes already done, and you guys know that I like to do my eye makeup before I do the rest of my face makeup, but whichever way you want to do it is absolutely fine. Just to let you know, the colour on my lid is from the Juvia's Place Warrior palette, and the other colours are kind of like a mix and match of tons of different other palettes, so I won't mention them right now. And my lashes are actually Ardell Wispies, but in the style 700. They're a bit longer and a little bit more fluffy than the standard wispy style. So first things first, you want to prep your skin. All I've got on my skin is my skincare and sunscreen. So I'm going to go in with a primer, and the primer that I'm using is this one. It's the Colourpop All Star Matte and Blur Primer. I really like this primer for my skin. I actually like it more for the blurring effect. I've said this before, the blurring and smoothing effect that it kind of provides my skin, more than the mattification. It does have like a subtle matte, but it doesn't do that whole like stripping your entire face of everything that it's got on it. The next step is to go in with a loose powder, and I'm using the Laura Mercier setting powder in the dark shade. And I'm just going to go in with a damp beauty sponge and apply this powder pretty much all over my face. Particularly in the areas that I get oily, but for me, that is definitely what I call my eye zone. So across my forehead, down my nose, across my cheeks and my chin. So that's pretty much all of my face. So I do just go with this pretty much all over. A lot of people use this technique to help their makeup last longer, and that's exactly what we want from this right now. Alright, so next up is foundation, and for foundation I would say you've got a variety of choices, but I would stay away from anything super dewy, anything super lightweight. And I know you might want to feel like your face has nothing on it and whatever, but if you really want this to kind of last and give you the longevity that you need, then I would really recommend a more high coverage, so maybe medium to high coverage foundation, and one that isn't dewy, because that will tend to transfer. So the foundation that I'm going in with today is my Fenty foundation, and this is the Pro Filter in the shade 445. This is a very matte foundation, like you only need a little bit of this, it's high coverage and it will go a long way. Other alternatives could be a Maybelline Fit Me, the matte and poreless one. If you've got any of the high coverage foundations like the Estee Lauder Double Wear, a foundation like the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop, all of those will kind of suck it in and hold it in. So what I'm going to do is take about a pump and a half of this, I think is enough, just there on the back of my hand. And then this is the trick. You need to take a setting spray that has longevity, so something like the Urban Decay All Nighter, something like the Milani 16 Hour Wear, or something that has mattification in it. So I'm going to go in with this, and this is actually the NYX Matte Finish setting spray. It is matte, and this foundation is very matte, so I'm only going to go in with one spray. If you have a foundation that isn't as matte as this Fenty one, then maybe you want to go in with a couple of extra sprays just to make sure that it's all in there. So I'm just putting that on a sponge and a brush, and dabbing that all over my face. The sponge that you use doesn't really matter, but try to go for like a packed kabuki brush, so either like a flat top or a dome top one. And then the technique that you want to use is not to drag it across your face. I'm actually using more of a pressing technique. So I'm really trying to get this foundation to adhere to my skin by pushing it into my skin rather than doing this kind of motion, which will be kind of like a taking off of the foundation instead. So you can see I've just used that pump and a half, and I have gotten pretty great coverage from it. My face is really well covered now. Don't worry so much under your eyes, because you're going to go in there with concealer anyway, so don't stress about that. And I hope you can see just how kind of put together that is and matte. It's all in there. Okay, once you've done your foundation, next step up is your concealer. I'm going to use two concealers. You don't have to be this extra, but I am. This is the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop concealer in the shade Cappuccino. I really like this shade. It's kind of like an orangey yellow. It helps really brighten my skin tone. And then I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. Camo Concealer, the standard one, not the hydrating one, in the shade Deep Chestnut. So you apply this pretty much just how you would apply your concealer anyway, on a regular day basis. And then I go in with this other one. And the reason I'm using two is just because I like the colour combination. The e.l.f. One is a little bit brighter, and I don't want my face to be super bright, but I do want it to have a little bit of lift just here in my inner corner. That's why I've put it on there. I grab you a sponge again. You can use the big one, but I've got a mini one. That's what they look like. These are AOA Studio sponges. I'm going to use the mini one because it can get all up in there, and I'm just going to blend this out. I'm just going in with the bigger sponge now, just to help the outer bit blend in with the rest of my face, but I think we're looking good. Okay, time to set the under eye, and just going back into the Laura Mercier powder, and I'm going in with a little kind of concealer fluffy brush. It's like a concealer powder brush, I think. I don't know what they call these in these sets, but it's basically a small fluffy brush. Just making sure to set everywhere that I have put that concealer down. It's actually mostly set by itself. The Can't Stop Won't Stop and the e.l.f. Camo are pretty matte. The Can't Stop Won't Stop is more matte. But just to make sure like 100% that this won't move, you want to hit it with this powder. So that's pretty much the base itself done, and the rest of this is now completely optional. So whether you want to go in with a blush, bronzer, contour, this is all up to you. I'm going to go in with a bronzer, which is my Broken CoverGirl Full Spectrum bronzer in the shade Ebony. I really like this colour. They reformulated it, but it is really nice. And I'm just going to use that to add a little bit of dimension here to my cheek. And to my hairline as well, and my forehead. Bit on the jawline as well. I mean, look at that, bronze side and non-bronze side. How much of a difference has the bronzer made? It just adds so much dimension. I don't think I'll ever stop using bronzer in my routine. For blush, I'm using this three-way blush by Sleek in the, what's this called? Flame colorway. And I'm just going to dip into these two shades right here. It's a really bright orange and a nice kind of warm terracotta, just to add a little bit of colour to my cheeks. Okay, before I finish off the bottom of my eye and my lips, I'm going to go back to the setting spray. And get a healthy amount on my face. I'm just going to allow that to settle in. That took me a little while because the nozzle is broken on that NYX spray I need to get. Okay, so for lips, we don't have an option really here with the gloss unless you want it to transfer onto the inside of your mask. I would just say go for a matte lip. So I'm going to go in with a brown lip liner. Any lip liner will do, but this is the Urban Cafe shade from NYX in the Slide On Glide On liner. And I'm just going to use that on the perimeter of my lips. And then in the center, any kind of liquid lipstick of your choice, but I'm going in with the ColourPop Ultra Matte Lipstick in the shade Love Bug. The final thing I'm going to do is to go back into my powder one more time, but honestly this time with a tiny amount of powder, and I'm just going to go over any areas that would typically give me issues. So around my nose, onto my cheeks, and my forehead and my chin. Those are my kind of trouble areas, as it were, the areas that will give me a little bit of a headache when I am when I'm trying to handle my oils, because the oils of course will break down my makeup. And just because I'm extra, one more time, lock everything in. And just to show you how effective that is, I've got some tissue here. Look, hardly any transfer. Look, hardly any transfer. Can you see anything? I can see just literally the tiniest amount. This will keep you locked in for most of the day. You might see a little bit of transfer onto your mask. I mean, it's never going to be 100% like transfer proof, but this is going to be good enough for you to use that mask and not basically take off your face and leave it behind. Just be careful as you are adjusting your mask around your nose, because that's the bit that gets the most friction. So be delicate with your face, don't shift it too much, and then you should be fine. So that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.